y'all, this is Anna Alexander. Welcome to my basement as we talk about Disney Plus's What If season finale was yesterday. And I've been waiting to post this video only because each episode itself is its own encapsulated little story. So it didn't really make sense to me to say, oh yeah, watch it because you'll like the direction it's going, when on the surface they weren't really linked. Especially, as I'll get into it in a second, the vibe and the tone each one conveyed. So I'm going to try not to give too many spoilers, but there'll be some spoilers just so you can see where my train of thought was about the series. So to start off with, we had Captain Carter. If Peggy Carter got the serum and not Steve. And I thought it was an excellent way to introduce the series because it was familiar. Everyone knows the story. First Avenger. Yeah, so it was nice to see how they just kind of twisted things up a little bit. So again, it was the same, but it was different. And it was very fascinating because I could appreciate some of the choices they made, but in your head was having a hard time. At least my head was having a hard time computing what I was seeing. And the funny thing is my oldest actually said as we're watching it, she's going, I don't understand. I get what's happening, but I can't understand what's happening. Even though I know what's happening, my brain's not processing it. And that's kind of how it is. But it's fascinating, and it had great fight sequences in it, and the animation was beautiful. And it's like, great, we're off and running. And then episode 2 was our Star-Lord T'Challa. And what I loved about this is that, again, on the surface, it seemed like same but different. We had the very beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, just a little bit of role reversal, but then the story took a really hard turn, and it was fascinating, and it became unexpected, even though it was familiar. And you're going, great, this is fabulous, haha, funny. Then we got episode 3, which was our murder mystery, when all of our Avengers are being killed. And that was really hard because on the one hand, yeah, superhero stories, although they, it's very much good guys versus bad guys, overcoming obstacles, good will fall, win the day. It's really hard seeing those superheroes die. There was some interesting story choices, the way it all played out. But yeah, that one was, after the end of it, you're kind of like, ooh, that was a bit of a bummer. But still fun in its own way, but oh, it was a bit of a bummer. And then we had Doctor Strange. If he lost his heart instead of his hands. And holy shitballs, y'all. That one, I have to get back to that one. But that one wasn't fun. It was dark. It was a dark episode. And at the very end of it, because we would watch it late at night, after everybody got home, day was settled, that was the last thing we would do before getting ready for bed. And so here we are, kind of semi-dark. End credits start to roll, and it was just like, and that's how you're left with it. It's fascinating, and I'm going to roll back to that later. But yeah, that was a dark turn. And then we got hit with another dark turn. Episode 5, everybody's now a zombie, with just a few select people not zombies. I know the zombies is a very popular thread in the What If comics, which I, again, have not read. I'm not a zombie person myself. I don't watch Walking Dead at all. So it was an interesting concept of who they put together with your, Wasp and Hulk and Sharon Carter and whatnot, and Spider-Man being quintessentially Spider-Man and happy. And I loved seeing how they all put it together, but watching them have to kill their zombie friends was really, it was not fun. It was not fun. And again, you think it's going to end, hopefully, and it really kind of sort of doesn't. It was another one of those, okay, episodes. Yeah. And then we had 6, which is the Killmonger saves Tony. And I forgot what that one was about until I just had to look it up. Again, interesting concepts, but it was very depressing and very kind of sad. And though it ends on a tiny bit of thread of hope, it was depressing and sad and frustrating. Oh, but seeing the queen kick major ass, poor that makes the whole episode. That was amazeballs. And I wish we can see more of that in the MCU, is the Queen getting mixed up into it. That was fabulous. And then we followed up with coming down the downhill side. Party Thor in Vegas, having lived and worked in Vegas, was entertaining. And I should just, what I should call the series What If is what I especially did during that episode, was me just going, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? I do want to say Chris Hemsworth doing voiceover work is fantastic. Seamless. I'm going to say him and Cumberbatch were right up there with their voice acting, because it was hysterical. But at the same time, that whole episode, I'm like, what is happening? So it was cute and funny until it ends, that very, 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 very end scene where you're just like, oh, we're back to the, okay. And then we hit, I'm lost track, episode 8 now, which was basically the total annihilation of the world, one of the world's multiverses as we know it, with Ultron 1. And it was, again, fascinating because now we're bringing the Watcher more into it and seeing what his true powers are was great. But he did look like a weird baby in a weird suit, baby head in a weird suit. It kind of throws you a smidge, but it's fine. But again, very a nihilistic episode until we fit that last one, which is what if the Watcher broke his oath. And that was great, just seeing the whole season tied together. And some of the choices they made were interesting, but it had some amazing fight sequences. Just bam, 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 bam. That shield work, the shield work from Widow and Captain Carter was great. And I would love to see that in the MCU with wishes and butts for candies and nuts. We will be able to see it. So overall, the season, I find it interesting, fun, satisfying, even though we had that big lull in the middle that was wholly dark and depressing. So I think if you have not yet watched it, definitely watch them watch a couple of them at a time, because that week to week where it was just, okay, we had basically almost a month of dark and depressingness, which was a lot to take in, especially if you had just seen Shang-Chi in the meantime, which had its dark moments, but was very uplifting at the end of it. And that, thank God, if you saw Shang-Chi, you had that break in the dark and depressing. And if you hadn't seen it, you're just dark, depressing, dark, depressing, dark, depressing. The animation is beautiful. There are some things where if you are an artist, you do kind of get pulled back because you're appreciating the shot, the cinematography of it. Captain Carter silhouette in the moonlight as she's spiraling down, Hawkeye falling towards the mounds of Ultrons, the Thor Viva Las Vegas shots, beautifully drawn. And color, we got lots of color. And that was, so as an artistic standpoint, and like looking at it from animation, it is really beautifully done, especially since I guess most of it was CGI. It was great. So to encapsulate it, What If will give you a different appreciation for some of the characters and stories we have been seeing. Gives you a hope for what we see in the future, because everybody's talking about MCU things they would like to see in the What If. And I've noticed a lot of them have gone back to phase 1, 2, and 3 MCUs. I would kind of like to see what would happen if Natasha didn't kill so-and-so's daughter in Budapest. Or what if instead of Shang-Chi being the assassin that went out, it was Mei Ling, the sister, I think her name was Mei Ling, went out and she was the assassin. I think those would be kind of interesting what ifs that happen. So if you've seen it, just please share your thoughts. I would love to hear, especially since this was a little bit of a different MCU than we've been used to. But I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as I have. And again, thank you for spending time with me today. Right now, hit like and subscribe so you know when I post other reviews. Also, I've been posting Y: The Last Man reactions, and I'm gonna start posting Squid Game reactions as well. Yeah, that's gonna be another adventure. Again, thank you so much. And until next time, y'all.